And of course, well, hello and welcome everybody. In today's video I'm going to show you my way of creating weapons for miniatures. And for that I have just a few basic tools. You can of course expand on the tools as you see fit, but I'm using a basic file. There's different shapes around that you can also use, especially if you want to carve round features into weapons. You would actually want to get a round shape of a file, for example. But you can of course just not use a file at all and just use different types of sandpaper. And personally I use this is a 500 grain paper, and this is a 1000 grain. So I will go from rather crude to finer, and then to super fine for the final smoothing. For the rough shaping I just use a hobby knife or a knife like this, for example. And then of course you need something to carve your weapons out of, and you want to use probably an epoxy putty like milliputty. To start with, I'm going to use this slab, and what you want to do is take a pencil or something like that and draw the shape that you want onto the slab. And for that you actually want to find a reference of the weapon you're going to create. Personally I decided to make a katana out of this, and already drew on the back side of it to shorten this video a bit. Two other shapes that I want to do is a Chris dagger, and the third weapon I want to do is some arcane magic tool, like a wand or whatever you want to call it. This one is going to be helped by my necromancer, so I'm trying to do something different with it. The Chris is actually going to be held by my assassin character. So we will see. Maybe I'll make this a bit shorter. For sure I won't make it that long, so I already painted, I already reduced this a bit in size. But yeah, we will see. I'll just start with the katana for now. For the katana I don't have a character yet, but it's gonna be an Asian themed character, so I just want to go with the katana. Like I said, I just use a knife for the basic shape. One thing I just saw is that the pencil is rubbing off, so I will get something else that's a bit more permanent. Okay, so I got me a permanent marker, and I will just roughly mark out the shape that I want to cut out. Let's see what we can do here. Instead, I'll use a bit of milliput and put the wire core beneath. Mix it. Trying to get this somewhat even. It's alright, it's so long. The original was about like this. So I'm fine with the length like that. And I'm just pushing this into the material. Shouldn't stick too much to paper, for example. You need to be a bit more careful with tabletops. Okay, and then making this a bit wider. And closing it carefully around the wire. Like this. And then we can just make it flat again. Okay, this is a bit on the thinner side, but should be okay. If it's too thin, what you can do, and this is not really elegant, but it works. You can just compress everything a bit with your nail here. this. It's more or less even, so I'm fine with this. I could go a bit smaller or thinner, but this leaves me a bit more room for interpretation of the curvature, so this is fine. But yeah, going to let this dry as well, and just making sure we get in even plane here, at least more or less. Okay, something we need to start is getting it actually really even also in this plane. Okay, and here you can actually see the wire come out already, but that's not too much of a problem. Like I said, the wire is supposed to be soft, and we can just file or sandpaper that down. Okay, we're getting there slowly. Still want to lose probably a third of the whole width. So yeah, just again scraping off. An edge here. Start with a smaller angle, So start like this and not like this. But yeah, I'm getting the edge a bit more clear. And let's try to turn off a light again so you can see the edge, hopefully. Okay. So here in the front you can see the darker area with the edge, and the lighter part up here, I hope, is the dull area. Let's try it here as well. And here I have a bit of room to decide how long my sword is actually going to be. Probably gonna be along this line. Alright, the second shape that I want to do is this Chris dagger, and I'll get rid of the material that is too much. So this shape is a bit more tricky than the katana. I'll go ahead and create something with a round shape or a round edge. And that can match the round shapes of the weapon. Of course, you want to be careful not to cut away too much. Of course, I want to check now and then if the shape is okay for the miniature. And yeah, considering the size should roughly fit here into the shed that I'm going to do for her. It's probably a bit too long, so going to reduce the size a bit. Probably go down to this length. So we can clip that off. Refining those two shapes so that they meet in the middle. make sure you get some interesting shapes here, and make sure the edges are really sharp, and especially the one in the middle, because when you're going to paint that, this should allow for really sharp lines. You can see by the green line in the middle that mine is not yet perfect, so still needs some work. I'm trying to stay in the middle here. Okay, so the first side is pretty much done. Let's try to eliminate one of my lamps so you can actually see this side is in the shadow and the other one is in light, and already looks pretty decent, I think. So a bit like this. She's going to hold it. I will still have to bend the arm a bit inwards for it to make sense, but she's gonna carry this one. Alright, back to the back side. Oh yeah, and of course you can always switch to finer grain sandpaper for the fine detail. So yeah, and complicated shapes like this, they don't have to be perfect. think I got how do I show you this? This belly turned out a bit too much, so I might correct that with just a bit of milliput after I did this. So yeah, luckily you can still add as you need to, but usually I'm trying to get everything correct on the first try. Okay, I think you get the drill. And this is the result. Turn off this lamp so you can see shadow and light a bit better. So here we have a Chris dagger. Next step will be to work on the handle, and I'll drill a hole here and stick a tiny wire in, and then sculpt a handle on top of that. Having a bit of a bad feeling that it will not survive being drilled into. So a little trick that I tried a couple of times, and this will take some restoration afterwards. I'll just file in a gap here, and then stick in a bit of wire. Actually, let me put some super glue here so that the whole thing isn't too wide. The gap should be really thin. Okay, that should be enough, and I have some more really thin wire. If this one is too thick, but I guess now this works. Okay, so just clipping off of it for the handle. Straightening it out. Drop super glue in and attaching the handle. Trying to stick to the plane. It's gonna need a bend in this direction, but just a quick spray with the activator. And this should survive most of the handling. Let's test my theory. Okay, and we got the base for our handle. Like I said, I'll sculpt a bit of MIDI put on top of that. Of course, you could just sandpaper this in shape. But it will have some imperfections, and it's better to cover areas like this with a bit of MIDI put. Okay, so we got our katana, and we got the dagger.